The comfort, the beauty, the luxury, and trips to the four corners of the globe, 4 stars hotel would make anyone, including myself, dream. Who would not want to live the life of one of those popular social media girls? No one? Don't judge me for the surprising choice I made. My name is Esther, yes, as in the Bible, and my story is a lesson. Before we continue with the story, do not forget to click on the notification button in order to get notified at every new video posted. Thank you. I was a small student until then without problems. I had just entered the university. Coming from a middle-class family but with strict principles, Mom and Dad didn't want to put me in absolute luxury, yet I never lacked anything when I still was living in the family home. When I was set up in the dorm room, I had the bare minimum: a bed, a table, and a chair to be able to study, some day clothes to be able to go to campus, and a fridge to store food. Nothing really extraordinary, you know. And at that time, I didn't complain, since I had the main objective to achieve, and that of getting my degree. The rest was not a priority. Besides, my goal was maintained because my grades at the university were impeccable. Moreover, several classmates approached me to give them a hand. And yes, I was a reference person, especially in terms of constitutional law and international law. My goal after my bachelor's degree was to go in a school of diplomacy, and it made my parents so proud that they offered to help me find a scholarship for my master's. At the end of the year, I passed with flying colors, and I could only be satisfied because I put a lot of effort to get there. I therefore discussed with my parents, and we concluded that I was allowed to find a part-time job to be able to meet young girls' needs that I started having. Since I had already taken the rhythm at the university, I already knew how to organize myself to get by between the two. So I dropped off my CV here and there, and in less than 2 weeks, I got hired in a luxury clothing shop. I was supposed to be in charge of sales. Basically, I had to be in constant contact with the customers. To top it off, for the first month, I was nominated as the Employee of the Month. I approached the customers with incredible ease. I could easily convince them to take on articles. Some ladies, regulars in the shop, asked me to advise them on how to improve on their styles because they thought I was particularly trendy. This was often accompanied with large tips, which allowed me to pay not only my bills but also buy myself nice clothes. I made good sales and I had the best performance in the store, which earned me a promotion in less than 3 months of service. I became head salesperson, and as my main duty, I had to supervise all the other salespeople in the store. Not only did it lighten my work, I also had a raise and I had access to the VIP clients. I did not fail to take service as soon as I could, and the first day of work in the VIP room allowed me to meet a young woman. Her name was Rosa. This lady has something quite special about her. It goes down beyond all the luxury purchases that she made in our boutique on a weekly basis. I am not sure how to describe this, but she had a weird energy that went with her every time she came to buy items. Nevertheless, she was very friendly. And above all, she left a lot of juicy tips, which made her one of my favorite customers. Each visit, she left me enough money to be able to pay my internet and electricity bills at home. I was grateful. One famous Thursday, she came to the stores as usual to pick up a luxury handbag that she had ordered a month before. As usual, we installed her on the leather sofa at the back of the VIP room, and I personally served her a Veuve Clicquot in a flute with olives. And while she was inspecting her purchase, we had a very friendly chat, and that's when I found out her age. She was 4 years younger than me, but her looks made her so mature. I could have sworn she was older. This discovery made me want to know more about her. It was then that I was invited to lodge at her house the following week, something I accepted without hesitation. That would make me a new girlfriend since I didn't have many friends in town. After having validated her order, all satisfied, she left me with a big tip as usual. The day of the appointment had finally arrived, so I arrived at her apartment, and how amazed I was. Everything was luxurious and so beautiful. It looked like she was living in a magazine catalog. There was marble everywhere in the kitchen, high-quality furniture in the living room, and icing on the cake. She even had a housekeeper who took care of the maintenance of the house. I couldn't help but to tell her she was lucky to come from a very wealthy family that allowed her to have such a lifestyle. But she answered in a rather surprising way. She told me that her parents had modest incomes, and that on the contrary, she was the one who took care of them. This answer shocked me. I asked her how she did to have so much money to not only afford the life of luxury but also to be able to take care of her parents entirely. She told me that she was working for it. I was totally lost. You remember she told me that she was 4 years younger than me, right? And I was barely at the end of my first year in the university. So I basically hadn't reached the bachelor's degree level yet to be able to get an internship and then have a stable job. How could she get a job so early and with so few qualifications? So I asked her if she was a model because that could be the only explanation. She replied in the negative and made me understand that she was a kind of entertainer. I wanted to know more. Obviously, this profession was damn well paid, and I wanted to have more information on it so I could also enjoy the astronomical salary. Seeing my interest in a field of profession, she decided to introduce me to it so that I could also find my way in there, something that I obviously found so sympathetical. For this, she asked me to come to her house the next evening since she was going to work with businessmen. Very happy, I accepted, and I asked her if I had to put on a strict outfit. She told me no, and that I should rather come dressed casually/seductively. I had no problem with that since the meeting was supposed to take place in the evening. I went home very happy at the idea of having to change my profession and earn more money like my new girlfriend. The next evening, I started to get ready and wore my best outfit. I had a new pair of heels that I had never worn, so I put them on, taking care of putting polish on my toes first. I put on makeup and I was ready for my business meeting. I joined my new friend at her place and we took her car, and it was towards the Hilton that we headed, the most upscale hotel in the town. We went to the hotel's panoramic bar where we placed cocktail orders while waiting for the famous partners to arrive. I also took the opportunity to ask her what I had to do and how I had to behave in front of this gentleman, and she told me that all I needed to do was to be nice, smiling, and especially obliging to all that they were going to propose to me. It left me a little dubious, but hey, I trusted her. She didn't seem to be like a bad company. About 15 minutes later, two well-dressed men, above all well-scented, arrived at our table accompanied by bodyguards. They seemed to know my girlfriend well since they kissed each other. Shy as I was, I couldn't be in the mood to be very familiar with them, so I reached out to them. The first gesture that should have alerted me was the fact that one of them, while shaking my hand, scratched the palm with his index finger. I didn't quite understand what the meaning of it was, but I overlooked it. We ordered food, and one odd thing happened. One of the men ordered alcohol, 2 bottles of champagne for my girlfriend and I, and they were having scotch. And during the dinner, I felt the leg of the gentleman who scratched my palm touching mine in an awkward way. When I looked at him in the face, he winked at me. I was very uncomfortable and I discreetly texted my friend and told her about the situation. She replied reassuring me and asking me to stay calm and that everything was going to be fine. Once the dinner was over, the gentleman asked us to follow them. I thought maybe we were finally going to talk about the business we were there for that night. We found ourselves in room 680. It was a presidential suite, luxurious and flamboyant. Without thinking, my girlfriend went to the bathroom and closed the door. I didn't really know what to do, so I sat on the sofa in the small living room while waiting for her to come back. It was then that the gentleman who spent the whole night making me feel uncomfortable approached me and attempted to touch me inappropriately. I quickly pushed him away and screamed with all my might, threatening him. I was starting to feel really unsafe. First, he spent the whole evening provoking me inappropriately. Now he has the guts to touch me without my consent? No, I wasn't going to let this happen. My girlfriend came out of the bathroom naked, surprised at the noise that came from the small living room. Seeing her, I immediately understood what we had come in the room to do. I realized that my friend was not only escorting, but she was selling her body to rich men. I took my heels and left the hotel. The education I had received from my parents did not allow me to do such a thing. At least I had a job that allowed me to support myself. I couldn't do that. I found a taxi and went home and double-locked my door behind me. My girlfriend tried to call me all evening long, but I didn't bother to pick up. We had nothing more to say to each other. I went back to work the next morning and I saw the manager of the luxury boutique where I worked. I asked her if I could get a transfer to other branches in another district. It was so that the other girl could not find me.